This is MRN Out Loud, brought to you by Hercules Tires.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of MRN Out Loud. I'm Woody Cain. We're staying in Florida, but heading a little further south, the Homestead-Miami Speedway for the Dixie Vodka 400. TylerReddick is our guest on the program today. After a rough start at Daytona, he's looking forward to wiping the slate clean this weekend, where he won 2 Xfinity Series championships by winning the races there, and he had a top 5 finish a year ago at that track. TylerReddick's our guest on this week's show. He'll be next.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTires.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTires.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
TylerReddick is with us now. He drives the number 8 Chevrolet Camaros at Richard Childress Racing. He's a 2-time Xfinity champ, and he's getting set to head to Homestead-Miami Speedway, his favorite track, and for good reason, Tyler. That place has been very good to you. You won 2 Xfinity titles there by running right up along the wall at that place, and it seems like that's what most of the drivers like, that you can go where you want. How is it for you?
It's really fun, just like you mentioned. The events is a lot of free speed, especially on the longer runs, as the tires degrade, and especially on the warmer days or when the sun is applying that heat directly to the surface of that racetrack at Homestead. So it definitely adds to the excitement. The track falls really off a cliff from lap 1, it feels like, with the tire heat and wear. So you're just constantly, every single lap, doing something different within the car to get the absolute 100% the capability out of the race car. So it makes a lot of fun for a lot of the drivers that go there and really understand that and have fun with it.
All right, before we look too far ahead, we got to look a little bit backwards, and Daytona wasn't necessarily kind to you. It was almost like the monster super speedway for you. It ate a couple of race cars, one in the Daytona 500, but you were certainly not alone in that respect. And then a spectacular fire on the road course there. Coming out of Daytona, I mean, you've been through this before. You've been in this business long enough to know there are highs and lows. So how do you set yourself right? Is it as simple as going to Homestead?
Pretty much. You can let this affect you as long as you want to. It's still Monday. We still got to have a debrief. So, I guess it is still eating at me a little bit. But as soon as that debrief is over here in a couple hours, it's time to move past it. It's time to move on completely to Homestead. You don't want to allow any of that negative energy, any of the things that went wrong in the last 2 weeks carry over. There's no point in that. It's already difficult enough to go out and win races or run really well. So just got to, hit that reset button once truly the weekend is behind us, after we debrief and go through kind of the rundown of our race and the trend and all those things. So you just can't let that carry over. I mean, it's you want to let the positive momentum carry over. The lessons learned you want to carry over, but the negatives that come with it, you got to leave behind you.
Absolutely. I'm curious. A lot of drivers talk about they watch a lot of tape of certain races, especially when they're going back there after having been once in the same year. How do you do that? What do you do for a breakdown? Do you just talk to your team and look at a lot of stats, or do you look at a lot of video? How does that work for you personally?
Yeah, well, for myself, getting prepared, it's about looking at a lot of film, SMT data, looking back at the notes that I have from the Cup car, and now have those notes going back for the second time in the Cup car, which is good. But you can also go back and look at the trends and the notes from years prior. But really, that last year that we ran there, the tires that are on this car, the time of the year is different, yes, but we're starting in the heat of the day, which in years past in the Xfinity Series for the finale, it's more designed to start late afternoon and go into the night. And really, this race should start and complete under the sunlight. So it should be hotter from start to finish. And understanding, how the track's going to change, where shade's going to develop, all those things are more unique to, I guess, this race we have coming up, since we haven't raced here at this time of year at 3 o'clock, and I can't even remember when. So we'll be paying attention to what what develops for the Xfinity series, for the truck series, and take those notes and apply them to our race Sunday.
Speaking of the truck series, I'm glad you mentioned that. I was looking back through some pictures the other day when we had scheduled this, and I found a picture of us. I think it was 2015 or 16, and you were a young truck racer at Brad Keselowski Racing, and we were doing a hospitality event, and you were just like, I'm just glad to be here and having a big time, and I don't really know what's going to happen, but I'm all for it. And now, you've been around the sport. You've been to the Xfinity Series, a couple championships. Now you're in the Cup Series. What was going through that kid's mind when you were trying to climb the ladder versus now?
Sounds pretty similar to right now. Still happy to be here. Still a lot going on. Just still trying to absorb it all. But yeah, the experience of doing it a few years now is underneath my belt, and working with Randall now on our third year together. We've been through a lot together, and we've been able to overcome a lot together. So yeah, you continue to learn, and you will continue to learn from your first day of racing to your last day, strapping in and holding a steering wheel. That never changes. But good thing is the more you learn, the more you hopefully never make those same mistakes again. It's always a learning experience the first time. Then from then on, you're just making poor mistakes. So already been learning a lot again this year. But nice thing is we're going to Homestead. That's been a good track for me. And, we kind of need a good run to get out of this unfortunate little 2-race slide of not finishing very well or finishing at all, honestly. So we're looking ahead and really putting our hopes in having a good run to get us back going in the right direction. And obviously, this is a big race for our team and a big race for myself. We ran good here in the past, but we can't let that cloud us in a way that where if we don't leave here with a top 5 or a top 10, that we still need to be happy about getting out of here with a good finish, even if it's not what we're ultimately really excited about getting, which is up in the top 5 all day and trying to shoot and contend for that win. It's tough to do in the Cup Series, regardless of how good you are at a certain track or whatever the conditions might be.
Well, it's certainly been good to you. You had a top 5 there a season ago, but you mentioned about learning stuff, and I'm curious what kinds of things you took away from last year's crazy experience where we start off the season and think it's going to be normal. Next thing you know, there's a pandemic and no practice and qualifying, and a lot of times just going and jumping straight in the car and going racing with hardly even a lot of communication with your guys before you climb aboard the car. What lessons did you guys take away from last year that will help you this year?
A lot of things. You could pretty much plot. I can think of almost every little piece that really adds into the puzzle that makes up a good or a well executed Cup race. So there's a little bit of everything. There was room to improve on the rolling pit road speeds. I could have done a better job getting into my pit stall, hitting my marks, so my guys can knock out that really fast pit stop that we need to have to not just maintain on pit road, but to hopefully pass a car or 2 on pit road and continue our crawl to the front, whether that's, making 1 or 2 passes under green and then trying to get 1 or 2 or more on pit road too. So every little thing adds up. When you're racing against the best of the best, you can't be at 70% in 2 or 3 areas and still win. You have to be right there across the entire board. And in the Xfinity Series, a place like Homestead, as well in the past, I've been able to kind of rely on my strengths to get me through those really tough, important moments. We got it coming up here, and we're excited about it. But the race can be won or lost on pit road or on a strategy call made throughout the race. So we have to be on our toes. It's not going to come to us. We have to keep ourselves in this race all day.
I'm glad you talked a little bit about the learning experience, and I've asked a lot of guys that same question. And one of the things that comes up repeatedly is some of the guys were just glad to be able to have more family time, because in a normal year, you don't get that much. You're always on the road. You're always somewhere else. And you being a new dad now, relatively new, how was that first full year and getting a little bit of extra time with Bo? Has it been something that's I'm glad to have it, or is it something that you're like, man, I'm really eager to get back on the road?
Actually, I'm unsure for my situation how much I actually gained time at home, other than, of course, when we were all isolating at home, social distancing at home, when everything was really locked down. Once things revved back up, we were, splitting the shifts up to where the shop crew and the road crew are pretty much separated. So, they do their normal morning shifts, and then myself and the road crew come in at night. So I'd be busy doing things to prepare for the race during the day, and then be coming to the shop at night. Then on top of it, especially on the days where you have to leave the night before, traveling a little bit further away, flying out, Alexa and Bo, we're supposed to be coming to pretty much all the races before everything has happened that's taking place now. So I actually feel like I kind of lost some of that time with them, but a lot of that time that I was expecting to have with them was, on those practice days, and then the qualifying days, essentially on Saturday, and then having that free time away from the car, away from the garage on those weekends to spend with them. So I feel like I've actually kind of lost out on that a little bit, but it is, we're all fighting the same things. It's all, we're all pushing through this struggle together, and we're just trying to make the most of it. But yeah, it's been an interesting experience, and I am thankful for the time that I do get with Bo and Alexa when I am home.
What's surprised you the most about this first year, a little more than that now, of being a dad? Is it like you thought it would be, or are there been some things that have been like, oh wow, I had no idea this was going to be this way?
I mean, about every step has been very eye-opening. But I've kind of gone into it not really trying to set expectations. Like, this is my first time being a parent, so I just didn't really know what to expect. I heard a lot of things from different people about what it's like, but tried not to carry too much of that into how I looked at it. Just tried to learn as much as I could along the way, and just enjoy every step of the way. Definitely already, the things that have been that have been passed along to me of, like, just time just keeps going faster and faster. I think that's just with age, but definitely once you have a kid, time just seems to disappear, and he just changes every single day. They always say that, like, don't blink and he'll be 10 and on his way to school or whatever it is. I definitely see how that happens. So just trying to enjoy every minute of it. He's getting really close to walking, which is really awesome. But I was getting scared that he was going to figure out how to walk Sunday when I was in Daytona while they were at home. So hopefully he figures it out either this week while I'm home, or he'll just wait until Monday when I get back from Homestead. I'd hate to see him decide to walk when I'm not there.
Well, maybe he'll be jumping up and down when you're in victory lane or something like that. But
that'd be all right. I can be okay with that.
You'll look back one day when he goes, "Dad, can I borrow the car?" and go, "Wait a minute, you're not that old yet." It's just going to
that's going to be a tough one.
Fly by. Yeah. All right, let's get back to a little bit of racing beyond Homestead. After that, you head out west for our Western swing and go out to Las Vegas. A crash there for you a year ago, but tell me about racing at that track, because it seems like that surface is getting more and more, I don't know, grooved in for guys.
Well, I mean, it's been out there baking in the Las Vegas sun for years and years now, and between that and the sand that kind of sits up on it, I mean, it's got the right recipe for aging and really becoming a unique raceway. Still though, the track is very wide corners. The straightaways are shorter than some of the mile and a half we have, and the banking slightly progressive, and definitely, momentum is very key there. So we've seen a lot of different approaches to that race. We've seen how cool it can get if it does tip into the nighttime hours. It just depends on what the weather does, how much it cools off if we have a delay or two and it starts to cool down in the middle of the night or into the night. So, it is a desert. It does get hot, but it also does get really cold really quick. So the track can be really challenging to adjust for. It can be really challenging to prepare for it. And again, I mentioned the temperature swings, but also, again, the wind. Wind is plays a huge role in what your car does going into turn one and in turn three. So always have to be on your toes and wondering what that wind's going to do. But for sure, the surface is going in the right direction of getting racier and racier. I've always enjoyed going back there because it seems like it's a little rougher and starts to just get more and more character every time.
Now, you with a big dirt background, I got to ask you, what do you think about running on dirt at Bristol? Is it going to be something that is crazy? I know they did that with some different types of cars several years ago, but what are you expecting out there?
I'm really not trying to set expectations for that one. As much as I would love for it to play out a certain way, I think it's the wrong idea to envision it going that way. Just got to keep an open mind and just react as best as I can to whatever we are dealt when we get there. You know, the one good thing is there's going to be some practice. There's going to be races that run beforehand that we're going to be kind of see and get an idea of how it's going to trend for us by the time we get to racing when it's our turn. So we'll have an idea what it's going to do. It won't be like Eldora in the aspect of, you know, it's just one show, and you know, depending on how the weather plays out the night before, the track prep the week leading in, you know, it's kind of a guessing game of how it's going to go. We'll have a really good idea what we're going to have, and I'd say by the time our race comes around, you know, that morning we'll know what we're going to be working with in that event.
That'll be determinative for sure. What about the schedule shakeup in general? We talked about Bristol, but so many road courses this year, going to some places like Nashville and COTA that we haven't been before. Are you a guy who's in favor of that, or more of a traditionalist and kind of keeping things the way they've been for years?
I would say I was a traditionalist. I enjoy the mile and a halfs. What my comfort zone and what I seem to have good speed on them. You know, it doesn't mean I finish races or run consistently on them, but I've enjoyed the racing on them in the past. You know, the change to the 550 package. Well, you know, I'm more of I like the tire fall off and the lifting and having to search around the racetrack. So some of these mile and a halfs, we don't have that with this package. So yeah, my preference. I was kind of open to seeing some more change in the schedule. I was kind of hoping for, you know, maybe a change in the cars, but we're going to have that with the next gen car really soon. And so going to COTA, going to Nashville, again, I've never raced there, but my first test was there with BKR years and years ago. Ended quickly and unfortunately fast due to a tire failure, which was not fun. But I didn't even know the track was concrete. That's how new I was to asphalt racing, and racing on pavement is when I went and did that test there for an entire day. When I heard when we were going back to the concrete 1.3 mile racetrack, I was like, wait a minute, it's concrete? I was there all day and I hadn't even put two and two together. So, but COTA is probably my most exciting venue that we're going to. Road America is a great place, but I think that the racetrack that we're going to have at COTA, the course there it's got a bit of everything. You got some elevation change, you got your fast straightaways, your very important braking zones. It's going to be an exciting race, and it's tight course, but there's a lot of runoff in a lot of areas. So drivers are going to be able to be aggressive without having to deal with, you know, flying into the grass and their day being over. You know, if they slide off of, you know, you got a sand pit off of turn one, you got a sand pit off a couple of these corners, but you got a lot of runoff to work with. And it's not advantageous to really cut and use the runoff. The track's designed well to where being on the racing surface is going to be the best bet. So it'll put on a great race for the fans, and you know, it'll be an exciting race for us. We obviously know our speed's better on these road courses. We had that yesterday, but you still can't. Speed's not enough. You got to execute. You got to be smart. So we'll be looking to do those things when we go there.
All right, Tyler, let's wrap up with this. When you're having a little downtime and it's not all about the family, what movie or show have you been watching lately that's really caught your attention?
Man, so I've heard some buzz about the crew. I've seen a few little sneak peeks of it, but I haven't dove into it too much. So that's probably one next on the list. But to be honest, for all of us watching TV together, it's not really a family show, but there was a couple times after we put Bo to bed, me and Alexa turned it on. It's I think it's called The Boys. It's like this.
Oh yeah, the superhero. Yeah,
it's kind of making fun of Marvel, DC Comics.
But they're like real people and not necessarily all you know, heroes, right?
It's very interesting and gets very graphic really quick at times. It's very interesting show, I would say, but I don't know, some of that more ridiculous humor I find funny. So I really don't watch a lot of TV, but when I have turned it on in the last 2 or 3 weeks, we'll watch an episode of that maybe.
Yeah, we've gotten through the first season, haven't done the next one yet, but I agree with you. It's definitely off the wall, and I love that kind of stuff too.
You never know what's going to happen, right?
Exactly. That's what I like about it. You don't want the formula, right? You know, credits roll, the end, all that. Everybody goes back home and the sun sets. No, give me something a little different. I'm right there with you.
That first episode, my gosh, that hook, line, and sinker, man. That first episode, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and like the walking out in the street and the arms go. I mean,
that guy's his girlfriend just disappearing. Yeah, that was not good.
Yeah, but it does get you hooked though. That's for sure. That's what makes a good show, right?
Yeah.
All right. Cool deal. Well, Tyler, I appreciate your time. Good luck at Homestead. I know you'll have a big time there, win, lose, or draw, because it's one of your favorite places, and you certainly have had some success there. So we'll look forward to seeing how things go for you this weekend. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, and hey, if we do win it, Homestead, with Cheddar Scratch Kitchen on the hood on Monday night, got to go in, man. Number 8 special is free. So Woody, I'm telling you, we get it done. You got to make it through the Cheddars over there off University.
Yep, I've been to Cheddar's, man. It is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if my grandfather told me one time, you don't get anywhere in this world turning down free stuff. So that makes it a better deal. Yeah.
Anybody out there listening and watching, if you, want a free dinner on Monday night, pull for Tyler. So hopefully we'll go get it done.
There you go. Fantastic, man. Thanks for your time. Good luck.
Yeah. Thank you.
There you go. That's TylerReddick from Richard Childress Racing. Watch him in that number 8 car this weekend.
The 1993 Cup Series season had more than its fair share of twists and turns.
Rusty Wallace flips 1, 2, 3 times.
Every time the car's hitting and it's wrecking, and you're like, okay, this one here is going to be the one that's going to be lights out. It's going to knock me out.
Here's stories you've never heard before in a 10-part series called The 1993 Season.
Dale Jarrett's got the lead. He goes to the inside. Earnhardt's not going to get him.
I knew if he got to my bumper, what was going to happen.
You can download it for free on iTunes or on MRN.com right now.
That's all the time we've got on this edition of MRN Out Loud. We want to thank TylerReddick from Richard Childress Racing for being our guest on the program. Watch for him in that number 8 Chevrolet from Richard Childress Racing this weekend, and Cheddar's on the car. As he said, you might be able to get a free meal. Also, don't forget our coverage on the Motor Racing Network of the Dixie Vodka 400 comes your way Sunday at 2:30 Eastern Time. Make sure you're with us. I'm Woody Cain, and we'll see you right back here next week for another edition of MRN Out Loud.